Good evening and welcome back to another episode of The Longing, where today we are going to be once again continuing to read the Iliad by Homer. So let's get going. Lie there, Lycaon, let the fish surround excuse me, thy bloated corpse and suck thy gory wound. There no sad mother shall thy funerals weep, but swift Scamander roll thee to the deep, whose every wave some watery monster brings, to feast unpunished on the fat of kings. So perished Troy and all the Trojan line, such ruin theirs and such compassion mine. What boots ye now Scamander's worshipped stream, his earthly honours and immortal name? In vain your immolated bulls are slain, your living coursers glut his gulfs in vain. Thus he rewards you with this bitter fate, thus till the Grecian vengeance is complete. Thus is atoned Patroclus' honoured shade, and the short absence of Achilles paid. These boastful words provoked the raging god, with fury swells the violated flood. What means divine may yet the power employ, to check Achilles and to rescue Troy? Meanwhile the hero springs in arms to dare the great Asteropaeus to mortal war, the son of Pelagon, whose lofty line flows from the source of Axius' stream divine. Fair Peribea's love the god had crowned, with all his refluent waters circled round. On him Achilles rushed, he fearless stood, and shook two spears advancing from the flood. The flood impelled him on Pelides' head, to avenge his waters choked with heaps of dead. Near as they drew, Achilles thus began, What art thou, boldest of the race of man? Who or from whence unhappy is the sire, whose son encounters our resistless ire? O son of Peleus, what avails to trace, replied the warrior, our illustrious race. From rich Paeonia's valleys I command, armed with protended spears, my native band. Now shines the 10th bright morning since I came, in aid of Ilion to the fields of fame. Axius, who swells with all the neighbouring rills, and wide around the floated region fills, begot my sire, whose spear much glory won. Now lift thy arm and try that hero's son. Threatening he said the hostile chief's advance. At once Asteropaeus discharged each lance, for both his dexterous hands the lance could wield. One struck, but pierced not the Vulcanian shield. One raised Achilles' hand, the spouting blood spun forth. One raised Achilles' hand, the spouting blood spun forth, in earth the fastened weapon stood. Like lightning next the Pelian javelin flies, its erring fury hissed along the skies. Deep in the swelling bank was driven the spear, even to the middle earth, and quivered there. Then from his side the sword Pelides drew, and on his foe with double fury flew. The foe thrice tugged and shook the rooted wood, repulsive of his might the weapon stood. The fourth he tries to break the spear in vain, bent as he stands he tumbles to the plain. His belly opened with a ghastly wound, the reeking entrails pour upon the ground. Beneath the hero's feet he panting lies, and his eye darkens and his spirit flies. While the proud victor thus triumphing said, his radiant armour tearing from the dead, So ends thy glory, such the fate they prove, who strive presumptuous with the sons of Jove. Sprung from a river didst thou boast thy line, but great Saturnius is the source of mine. How durst thou vaunt thy watery progeny? Of Peleus, Caucus, and Jove am I. The race of these superior far to those, as he that thunders to the stream that flows. What rivers can Scamander might have shown, but Jove he dreads, nor wars against his son. Even Achelous might contend in vain, and all the roaring billows of the main. The eternal ocean from whose fountains flow the seas, the rivers, and the springs below. The thundering voice of Jove abhors to hear, and in his deep abysses shakes with fear. He said, then from the bank his javelin tore, and left the breathless warrior in his gore. The floating tides the bloody carcass leave, and beat against it wave succeeding wave, till rolled between the banks it lies the flood of curling eels and fishes of the flood. All scattered round the stream their mightiest slain, the amazed Paeonians scour along the plain. He vents his fury on the flying crew, Thrasius Astyplus and Menesus slew. Mydon Thesilochus with Cneus fell, and numbers more his lance had plunged to hell. But from the bottom of his gulfs profound, Scamander spoke, the shores returned the sound. O first of mortals, for the gods are thine, in valour matchless, and in force divine. If Jove have given thee every Trojan head, 'tis not on me thy rage should heap the dead. See, my choked streams no more their course can keep, nor roll their wonted tribute to the deep. Turn then impetuous from our injured flood, content thy slaughters could amaze a god. In human form confessed before his eyes, the river thus, and thus the chief replies. O sacred stream, thy word we shall obey, but not till Troy the destined vengeance pay. Not till within her towers the perjured train shall pant and tremble at our arms again. Not till proud Hector, guardian of her wall, or stain this lance, or see Achilles fall. He said, and drove with fury on the foe, then to the godhead of the silver bow. The yellow flood began, O son of Jove, was not the mandate of the sire above. Full and express that Phoebus should employ his sacred arrows in defence of Troy, and make her conquer till Hyperion's fall, in awful darkness hide the face of all. He spoke in vain, the chief without dismay ploughs through the boiling surge his desperate way. Then rising in his rage above the shores, from all his deep the bellowing river roars. Huge heaps of slain disgorges on the coast, and round the banks the ghastly dead are tossed. While all before the billows ranged on high, a watery bulwark screen the bands who fly. Now bursting on his head with thundering sound, the falling deluge whelms the hero round. His loaded shield bends to the rushing tide, his feet upborne scarce the strong flood divide. Sliddering and staggering on the border stood a spreading elm that overhung the flood. He seized a bending bough his steps to stay. The plant uprooted to his weight gave way. 270. Heaving the bank and undermining all, loud flashed the waters to the rushing fall. Of the thick foliage the large trunk displayed, bridged the rough flood across the hero stayed. On this his weight, and raised upon his hand, leaped from the channel and regained the land. Then blackened the wild waves, the murmur rose, the god pursues, a huger billow throws, and bursts the bank, ambitious to destroy the man whose fury is the fate of Troy. He that like the warlike eagle speeds his pace, swiftest and strongest of the aerial race. Far as a spear can fly Achilles springs, at every bound his clanging armour rings. Now here, now there he turns on every side, and winds his course before the following tide. The waves flow after wheresoe'er he wheels, and gather fast and murmur at his heels. So when a peasant to his garden brings soft rills of water from the bubbling springs, and calls the flood from high to bless his bowers, and feed with pregnant streams the plants and flowers. Soon as he clears whate'er their passage stayed, and marks the future current with his spade. Swift o'er the rolling pebbles down the hills, louder and louder purl the falling rills. Before him scattering they prevent his pains, and shine in mazy wanderings o'er the plains. And with that we come to the end of the episode. So I will say thank you very much for joining today. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon or night, no matter what time of day it is. I hope you all have a wonderful one of it. And as always, we will be back tomorrow for more of The Longing. Goodbye.